see who else is here. It looks like it's just you guys so far, at least in the chat. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been quite a week out here in Southern California, and I got to say, the weather right now is just perfection. It's like a high of 78 this whole week, which is exactly my favorite type of weather. We also live like 2 miles from where they hold the Renaissance Fair, which is happening right now, and so I'm hoping we get to go to the Renaissance Fair next weekend, on Saturday or maybe the weekend after while it's still nice and cool. Hey Myra, because the Ren Fair is it runs through May, and those last couple of weekends are really, really hot, so I hope we get to go sooner rather than later. Hey Chris, what's up? But yeah, welcome everybody to our live stream, our Sunday live stream where we fight off the Sunday scaries together. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and hopefully we can keep that going for the rest of tonight and get you guys off to a good start for the week. Good to hear, Chris. I'm glad life's good. Today I got something kind of weird and silly for you, so let me show you what's going on. So I have a commission to do where I have to make a set of gardening tools. But the gardening tools, they want a specific blank for them. Byron, I'm sorry to hear that. That's not cool. I hope it gets better. But yeah, so I have a commission for these gardening tools, and the handles for these are going to need like an 1.5-inch blank that I have not poured yet, or Savannah has not poured yet. So, not to call her out, I love you, kid, but it was a miscommunication between all parties involved, and anyway, the blanks for this are not poured yet, but part of the commission is for the adult size human and a set for their granddaughter. And I thought, well, let me back up a little bit. Let me put the big ones away, because we're not doing the big ones tonight. So I bought these on Amazon for $7. It's just like a mini gardening kit, and like I said, the recipient of the full-size ones, these are for her granddaughter who's like, I don't know, 4 or 5. So I bought these on Amazon. I will say the quality is definitely lacking. As you can, I don't know if you can tell how far off kilter that is. And the wood handles on these are just garbage. So, we are going to, because there's a trowel in this set. Oh, Myra, I saw that. I'm sorry about that. That's never fun. Taking a piece to the face is never fun. So we're only going to do one of these. I think that this one is supposed to be the spade, and this one's supposed to be the trowel. It's kind of hard to tell because they're so tiny, but one of them I'm basically ditching, and we're gonna do this one, and we're gonna do the little rake, and we're going to replace the handles with Ocean Eyes pen blanks. And then Savannah's going to pour me some custom Ocean Eyes handle blanks for the big set, so they'll all match. And it'll be a very cute granddaughter set for these folks. So, the first thing we have to do is we have to break these. We have to actually get these handles off somehow. It's not like they're really put on that well. As you can see, this little collar is like barely on there. But my plan is figure out how to get these off, and then we'll turn the blanks, you know, the same size. There's probably a tenon in there, and then glue them all together. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, these were very, very cheap on Amazon. Like I said, they're for a little kid, so I wanted to make sure that they were small. you know, so that we didn't end up in a situation where her tiny little hands couldn't hold the big tools. The other thing is that almost certainly this part extends into the handle to some degree. But until we break this, we're not going to know, and then we'll drill a matching hole, and we'll figure it all out. But I purposefully didn't even start on this project without you guys, because I wanted this to be a like a fun figure it out together kind of thing. So, with all that being said, let's switch you guys over to the other camera location, and we'll try to get these apart. And I want to try and get them apart, you know, while doing minimal damage. So, like, if even at just twisting this, there's a lot of give. Oh, cool, we didn't even need tools. Yeah, so this is clearly the highest quality that China can offer. And then let's see, yeah, this is going to be the same thing. This is like, God. So, this one, the collar might be harder to come off. Oh, never mind. So, not even really harder at all. And you can tell that, see, these have, like, little teeth kind of poked out of them, which I suppose was supposed to hold these in. But, man, they sure didn't do much. So, why don't we start with this guy, since this guy's round. So that'll definitely be easier. And then this one, we'll just have to do our best and try and bend that back into shape a little bit, because this is clearly just cheap metal. But I want to try and make it good and sturdy. So, let's see. So this does have like a little nub in here, again, to do some grabbing. But we will probably have to grind that off. So, let's see. 3mm, 19. Let's see. What's one step up from that? 5/32. 5/32 sounds great. That sounds like a very reasonable number. And it just so happens I do have a 5/32 bit from my handy dandy Harbor Freight kit. So, that wasn't nearly as hard as I thought on the disassembly. I had no idea that was going to be so poorly put together. I mean, I had an inkling. Also, for those who have been watching the last couple of weeks, I got this shirt just for you guys. So I hope you appreciate that I literally custom ordered a Tool Time Binford Tools t-shirt off the internet after our home improvement conversation the other day. So, yeah. You know, I don't specifically have a 19 1/28 drill bit. I am positive that I could find one if I needed to. So for this blank, real quick, because obviously, thanks, Pivy. Obviously, we have a lot more length here than they had given us. I am happy to give more length on these handles than the mass manufactured ones. But one of the blanks that I picked is actually from the end of the block, and so it does have this curved part, which, because I'm not trying to save the whole length of the blank, I'm just going to go lop off. And that should give me a good surface for drilling also. Okay. So, that looks a lot better now. It's going to be a much better drilling surface. So, let me flip you guys around. Oh, hey, look at that. So this is definitely more length than I prefer to have in the pen jaws, but I don't have any idea how long this blank is going to end up being, so let's see. The end's actually not bad on there, so I'm dropping stuff. But that seems pretty good. And then when it comes to this guy, we really only need, God, barely anything. I'm gonna give it a little extra. And this isn't so serious that I feel the need to measure everything perfectly. But, you know, it's kind of like, okay, we'll drill it, and then we'll check it, and then we'll drill it, and then we'll check it. It's such a small bit, too, that, you know, I want to make sure that we're I mean, yeah, that looks good. So, if I go ahead and stop that, and I get this guy in there, hey, guess what? It fits. With plenty of room to spare, and I'll be able to get this guy glued in real nice. And then the other thing I'm going to do, and I probably should have started here, but I didn't think about it until just now, is I'm actually going to use a center drill, and I'm going to bore it out very slightly with the center drill. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the 60-degree cone will give me a great place for my live center to live as we're turning this blank. So, there we go. Just a very small counter bore. And now this should go in even further, and that'll be nice and perfect. So, let's go ahead and get this undone. And as you can see, we have counter bore hole. To be completely honest, I haven't quite figured out how we're going to turn this yet. But I figure I put a dead center in there, and then that can go like that. And then I definitely need a live center. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this back in the chuck, and I'm going to bore another little 60-degree cone. And that should give me a place for the live center to live also. And I think that that'll work out really nice. So let's see. Let's see how that works out. So beautiful right there. That clearly needs some WD-40. Oh. silly. That's the same way I've already drilled it. So we're going to go the other way. Alrighty. There we go. Beautiful small counterbore, and that'll be great because we definitely don't need this whole length. So that's going to be plenty of clearance. Alrighty, so now we've got this end and that end. Yeah, beautiful. Alrighty. So we're going to start by getting it round, and then we'll figure out what size the tenon needs to be. I love this blank too, Myra. This blank has 11 different colors in it. All right. So we're not quite round yet, but we're definitely at a point where we can start figuring out this tenon. So The one on this plank is very shallow. It is 23, we're going to say it's 3/16. 3/16 is good. So we're going to go ahead and mark that. It's the benefit of cheap calipers is you don't mind doing shit like that. And then let's see. Here we're at 9/16. And if I go and measure this little thing, that's perfect also. So 9/16 is what we're trying to get to. A little further. Got a little chip there. Little tiny catch, but that's okay. All right, that is perfect. And then for the exterior, we're looking for about 43/64 on that exterior size. And because we're just turning resin between centers and there's nothing really in the middle to support it, it is going to resonate and make a lot of noise. Here's the other thing that we can do that I didn't really think of until now. That we can use this as a bit of a size judgment, because I'm basically going to angle it down to that. I'm not going to turn it to that. The only challenge being these little teeth that we're digging into the wood and are clearly not helping us with the resin. So I'm just going to take a punch, and I'm actually going to flatten those out real quick. There you go. So that is flat now. And should fit on here just fine. And certainly fine enough for our application. Alrighty. Sorry. Alright, so that's looking pretty good, and I just barely clipped the edge of that metal with the tool, and now it's nice and flush. And we can move on to shaping more of our blank. I don't really know how big to make this because I want it to be a little fatter than the one that came with it. Oh, I hate that noise. It really wants to jump around on me. Let's see what we can do with a negative rake. Doesn't really seem to be helping with all the noise. It's just really, really jumpy. The one thing we can definitely do is take some length off of this. So I do want to make it a little longer, so let's call it there. Oh, excuse me. I just got a big mouthful of resin. So we do have a little bit of a nub in here. I'm just going to zip that off on the sander. Alrighty. Yeah, it's still a little jumpy, but it's definitely a bit better. But to be honest, I don't really have to take it down much further. We're pretty much there. I am going to mimic these little grooves. And I do like their placement, so I'm just going to copy it and kind of center it on here. And then we'll do... Actually, I can see that. I don't know where that other one is. Oh, there you are. All right. And then we'll use our little diamond detailer. And we'll just give it a little kiss. So, not much, just a little tiny kiss. And I think that that looks nice. And then once we sand, it'll be beautiful. So before we sand, I am going to take this part back off. And we'll just go straight onto here. Tighten it back up a little. God, I am covered in resin. That's okay. And then we're probably going to start with 320 here. You didn't ruin anything, Joe. Hey, Vinny. What's up, dude? Yeah, Pimey, it was only a little bit better for a minute there. And you know, this is very much an experiment. Because this is clearly not an actual kit or anything. So I'm sure that there were better ways to do this, but without any hardware or mandrel or anything to support this thing, it just did not really, it wasn't too happy about the abuse I was trying to put it through. So I'm just gonna take my little sandpaper and get into those little grooves. Let's get a little more water in there too. Because these are, once again, these are for tiny hands, you know, so. Let's get that folded. Different spot. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, this is our Ocean Eyes blank, in case anybody is interested. It is, I think, just $1 more than our regular blanks. But the only reason it's $1 more is because there's 11 different colors. I think it's this beige color, and then I think it's 5 blues and 5 greens, if I remember right. I'm just looking for Zona paper, which I apparently don't have any cut of, so let me just snip off a little Zona paper real quick. So yeah. The other thing I should probably do before we go much further is start to part off the end so I can polish that also. I don't know how we're going to grab it. Actually, probably not going to be able to, so we're just gonna have to do our best here. Yeah, that's better, because then I can at least start polishing the end of it. Hi, Mama. Oh, nice, Myra. I'd love to see that. And try and get in these little grooves. I think that's starting to feel really good. Just wonder where the white one went. Yeah, Purple Rains are really going to. We just restocked that a couple of weeks ago. I think Purple Rain is definitely in my top 5. And then this one, Ocean Eyes, is in my top 10, I think. There's a couple that just that I really love. I really love Midnight Rider, which is like a dark blue and a silver. And then I really like Fire on the Mountain is probably one of my favorites. That's like our OG. That's like one of our first blanks. But yeah, this one's incredible. So then, one last thing that I want to do before we part this off and glue it up is I'm actually going to take a very coarse grit of sandpaper and sand on this little tenon, because the tenon kind of got polished as we were doing that, and it's going to make it less grippy for the epoxy. So I'm just going to take a small piece and get in here as tight as I can to scratch, and I'm actually going to fold that in half. Scratch that up real nice for the epoxy. There we go. So now that's got some grooves in it. So I think the last thing we have to do is get that tenon off of there. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but let's see if we can't use this hacksaw. There we go. So now it's off of there. It's not the cleanest break of all time, but let's see if we can't get that hold that with something. So let's take a look at our collets. So the biggest collet I have, actually, that might work. Let's see if I got one size down. Is that one bigger or small? Yeah, you know what? This might work. So let's try it. Yeah, because we're not going to fit in that one. Because I drop everything. Yeah. What I really need is one in the middle, but I don't have one in the middle. So let's hope that we can tighten this bad boy up enough. We are so close here. And I actually think that's close enough. So we're definitely out of round, but we're at least yeah, that's perfect. And then we'll just polish up the end. Oh, turn that down. So I can definitely feel that there's a good flat spot on there. So I'm going to take the 400 and shape it. So it feels nice. That is certainly better. Oh yeah, Copperhead's a good one too, Myra. Sorry for just seeing that. I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite, you know? It's like picking a favorite child, I guess. Because I also really like Fright Night. Alrighty. Well, that sure does look pretty. I don't know what that voice was. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Alright. Hi. Let's go over to the other side. Ugh. And we'll get some of this crap out of the way. This is what I used to flatten down that edge on there. But now that's gonna fit pretty much perfectly. And we have that, so it'll look like so. So now all we have to do first, that thing sucks, but instead of grinding it off, it's keyed, right? So the point of it is to make it so that it can't come back out, or it can't twist, I should say. So what I should do is make a groove in here. Is it what I want to do? No. Is it what I should do? Yes. So I happen to have a tiny file that is not small enough. Dang it. I definitely thought that was going to work, because all my other files are way too big for this. Let's see what else we got. What are we going to do? Are we going to have to be sneaky about this? I think we are. I think we are going to have to be sneaky, kids. let's see if I can't find that bit from earlier. Wherever that ended up. Let me get these out of the way. So, similar to last week, we might have to use a Dremel. That's okay. Because I'm sure that somewhere in this kit, I have the right tool for this. And it looks like one of these little pointy guys is going to be the winner. I do need this other collet back out of there. Come here. Because if you'll recall last week, we had to put that really, really tiny collet in to hold that very, very tiny drill bit. So, let's get this guy out of here. I'm just looking for the wrench to loosen it up. So, here's our tiny collet. Here's our full-size collet. Yeah, Joe, it's gonna be too loud. Alright, let's see. So, we just basically need to cut a tiny, tiny groove in this. Hopefully that is enough. Let's check. Let's see. Woohoo! Yeah, baby! Look at that. And it don't rotate. Ah! That's exciting. Alright. So now, I just want to get some isopropyl alcohol and get the interior of this cleaned up so that when we go to do our glue, we have a nice clean surface to epoxy onto. Get that out of there. All right. Oh, that's so exciting, guys. I love when something works the first time. That's just amazing. And I'll figure out this one sometime during the week. I still have to turn those full-sized ones, so that one can wait, but at least we'll be able to get this one done. And gosh, I think it's going to be awesome. All right, let me get some oh god, I'm like knocking shit over. Get some plastic. My little epoxy station. Don't really need to peel the old epoxy off, but it helps. Alright. 1, 2, 3. So we are going to need very, very little epoxy for this. And we're going to use a handy dandy toothpick in addition to our other typical non-shop tools like popsicle sticks and Q-tips to get this done. And truly, this dollop is going to be twice the amount that we need, but you have to make sure that you get enough out of the tube that it mixes thoroughly. And it would probably be better if I had the other one prepped and was able to glue both of them at the same time, but to be honest, I'm just really excited that this worked, and we don't really have the time for the live stream to do that other one, so that's okay. So, oh, and of course I just got it all over my hands. So rude. Okay. I'm just going to take our popsicle stick and kind of... We don't want that to roll into the epoxy. That is definitely not ideal. So what we're going to do is take our toothpick and drop a big glob of epoxy down in there. And then we also want to make sure that we get some on this surface here. And a little on this outside bit too. We don't want it to squeeze out too bad, which is mostly what the Q-tip is for. But we do want good coverage. So I'm just kind of painting it on the edge with the Q-tip. Then this, we'll just have to find where it keys in. Yeah. And to be honest, just wipe all that excess off. Just like so. And that right there is a custom gardening tool. I am going to actually see if I can give it a little more length without causing too much of a problem. So I actually think I'm going to scoop some more of this epoxy down into there. There we go. And now there is more than enough epoxy down in there. And that'll hold it for the duration of its life. I mean, that's... certainly the most well-made children's gardening tool of all time. And I do want to just kind of get a little hammer in there and tap that. So I have a jeweler's hammer. I'm going to slide this epoxy out of the way and move you guys. So I have a jeweler's hammer, and hopefully we can... It's certainly not scientific. But we want to get a really, really good fit on that. Yeah, I think that's it. I think at this point it just has to sit and cure. And then it is good to go for our friend's granddaughter. I hope you guys like that project. I mean, it was very much an experiment. And hold on, let me just move this epoxy out of the way before I make like an even bigger mess. Okay. So, where'd I put that other one? So obviously this is one of the tools that we started with, and this is what we ended up with. I think that that's a significant improvement on what Amazon sent, and I think that once we get this spade figured out, it's going, I mean, that's just going to be awesome. I mean, it is, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff falling. Okay. It is one of those things where I am going to have to kind of bend this back into shape, at least to a degree, because it certainly came very, very bent out of shape. And we want to make sure that, especially because this one is going to get epoxied in, and this part is going to be the part that really holds it, we want to make sure that that fits really nice, because look at how much it dug out the original handle. I mean, that was not being held by much. That was literally just, you know. So it looks like what they tried to do in the original was cut a V-groove that matched this thing. What I'm going to do for when I actually get around to finishing this, I'm probably going to hammer this around just with a jeweler's hammer or something else, a ball peen. So that way it'll just fit in whatever hole I'm drilling. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to not suck, which is what it did originally. But I think that's it for tonight. That's crazy. It felt like that stream went by so fast, but in reality it's been over an hour. And we got a project done. I'm really, really happy with it. I keep picking it up and touching it, which I know I shouldn't because the epoxy's still drying, but I just think that this is going to be the absolute cat's meow. But I gotta stop touching it or I'm going to ruin it. So with that being said, hey, thanks, Vinny. With that being said, I think we're done for tonight, and I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a lovely week. Happy Easter to all that celebrate. Easter's next Sunday, so we will not be live next Sunday. Go spend some time with your families. Enjoy Easter. We will be taking that day off from the stream. Otherwise, I hope you guys have the best week ever. And, you know, I love you guys and I wish you all the best. And, you know, go watch Home Improvement on Netflix if you've got time, because I've been really enjoying it. And yeah, stay safe out there in your shops. And if you're in one of the parts of the country that's really, really cold or really, really hot right now, take care. But yeah, all right. I guess we'll talk later. Bye, guys.